Will Neymar Jr. stay at PSG? Is Sergio Ramos looking more likely to leave than stay with Real Madrid? This and much more as Fabrizio Romano joins us for his weekly transfer notes. Qué Golazo with Fabrizio begins right now. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Qué Golazo here on Monday. And Monday means only one thing, Fabrizio Romano and his transfer contract notes as we pass January, but we look ahead to the future and the summer. Fabrizio, how are you, my friend?
Hello, my friend. Always a big pleasure to be here with you. I'm okay. Thank you. A bit relaxed, but always working because, as you know so well, we are going to update really day by day. Also in this period, we have a lot of free agents, potential free agents, new contracts, a lot of important news coming also in the next days.
Absolutely. Lots of free agency conversation. And of course, as the summer, as clubs look to reshift. All right, let's begin with the big one. Fabrizio, Le Classique. Marseille against PSG was on Sunday. PSG won 2-0. Neymar came on as a sub. He had a birthday last week, conversations about his future with PSG. What is the latest with Neymar Jr.?
And the agreement is really close to extend this contract with Paris Saint-Germain, as we mentioned with Jonathan Johnston in last days, also here on CBS. And on Qué Golazo, the agreement is really imminent. We can say just because it's a matter of last details, then it will be signed between Neymar and Paris Saint-Germain. All people involved in the negotiation, they're so optimistic by Neymar's side, by Paris Saint-Germain's side. The player is so happy with Paris Saint-Germain atmosphere, with Paris Saint-Germain project also for the future. So with Pochettino as the manager, but in particular for next summer, because he knows that the club will try for big moves, and we will see what's going on with Leo Messi and with Sergio Ramos. We're going to talk about him. But the club is trying to do something important for the future of the club. So Neymar is so happy. At the moment, he's really open for planning his future at Paris Saint-Germain, and that's why he's going to sign a new contract. It will be a 4 years of contract. So the agreement is really imminent. 4 years agreement very close, and Neymar really happy with Paris Saint-Germain life.
So we're thinking this week maybe may happen, or would it be before the Champions League returns, you think?
Yes, I think in the next days, I really don't know about precisely, just because, when you have this kind of players and they want to announce in the right moment, it's also part of social media and marketing strategy. But for sure, they're going to announce soon just because Neymar will stay 100%.
Absolutely. Listen, here's a question for you, Fabrizio. I don't know, maybe it's just an opinion from you, but I'm wondering how much of that conversation also included with the fact, as you mentioned, that they're vigorously going to try and see if they can get Lionel Messi as well and rebuild that friendship that they had in Barcelona, of course.
Yes, this is something important for sure. Just because, when in December, Neymar had this interview after the match in Champions League and saying, I hope next season, I will play again with Leo Messi. He wasn't kidding. He wasn't joking. He was so serious just because he knows that Paris Saint-Germain will try. Then to sign Leo Messi, we know so well that it's not decided yet if he will leave Barcelona. He will decide after the election. Also Manchester City, if Leo Messi will be on the market, they will try for him. So it's still a long race. But for sure, Paris Saint-Germain will be ready if Messi will be on the market to try to sign him. And this is something important for Neymar because he understands that the club wants to do something big for the future. He wants to win as auto player, so it's normal. And trying this possibility for Leo Messi is really important for Neymar. So yes, this is another key factor for Neymar to stay at Paris Saint-Germain.
Absolutely intriguing to see in the coming months, of course, and the summer. All right, let's move on. You mentioned Sergio Ramos, the Real Madrid captain. Again, I say it every time, Fabrizio. I can't imagine Sergio Ramos anywhere else but Real Madrid. What's the latest with him?
And the situation is still blocked. It's still in standby in this moment between Sergio Ramos and Real Madrid. Also, the injury doesn't help about the timing of the renewal contract. Just because at the moment there is no agreement, as we always mention, Sergio is asking for 2 years of contract, almost with the same salary, and Real Madrid are changing the situation. They always offer around 1 season of a new contract, as the same for Luka Modric, but Modric is going to accept this bid. And at the moment with Ramos, there is no agreement. Paris Saint-Germain are ready also in this case. They would try, as with Leo Messi, also with Sergio Ramos, if he will be a free agent. We will see if some Premier League clubs will move, but at the moment Paris Saint-Germain are the most serious for Sergio Ramos if he will leave Real Madrid. And I say if because there is another key factor in this case, who is called Florentino Perez, because the president of Real Madrid has a special relationship with Sergio Ramos. So there is still a hope for Real Madrid, for Sergio Ramos to stay, because when you have Florentino Perez talking directly with the player, you have a big chance. So we will see if it will happen in the coming weeks, but for sure the situation is still open. No final decision has been made. So it will be an interesting one with Sergio Ramos, because there is no agreement at the moment. Paris Saint-Germain are looking at him, but Real Madrid are still trying to convince Sergio Ramos to stay. And his priority has always been to stay at Real Madrid. So we will see if they will match with the conditions between Real Madrid board and Sergio Ramos.
One of these things about Fabrizio, about this industry of ours, is that it's almost like a snowball effect, right? If one player goes one way, then it grows to another player going somewhere else. So with that being said, Phil Foden, Fabrizio Romano, a tremendous performance for Man City against Liverpool on Sunday. It's not just that game. He's been developing and growing. Still only 20 years old, I believe. Local kid from Stockport, but he is just, the ceiling is high, the bar is high, the future is very bright for him. Will Man City ever consider any bids from him?
Absolutely no. And what I can tell you, as you mentioned, it's not just because of the match they had in the weekend against Liverpool, amazing, fantastic, and we saw what kind of talent they have. But also before this match, from Manchester City board, they always say, forget any possible bid next summer for Phil Foden, because he's staying here and he will be a star of Manchester City for the present and also for the future. I remember it was like in September when we had some rumors about Juventus trying to sign Phil Foden, and also Juventus people told me it's absolutely impossible to sign Phil Foden in this moment, because Manchester City see him like the star of the future, and now the player is, as you mentioned, developing. He's growing up with the club. He's so happy with Pep Guardiola. So it's absolutely impossible. Forget also some important bids. Also, if we are mentioning around 100 million euro or 150, I don't know. There is no price in this problem for this guy. Really, Manchester City are so happy with him. He's a long-term contract, but let's see if in the coming months they will decide to try also for him. They are still negotiating with Kevin De Bruyne to extend this contract, with being optimistic feeling. So Manchester City hopes soon to extend the contract of Kevin De Bruyne, but for sure in the future of the club they have Phil Foden, and he won't move next summer, 100%.
It's so great to see, because Man City have so many international stars, but it's so great to see that it's a local kid that's really just blowing it up right now. All right, let's talk about Chelsea for a second. They're going to win. They're doing very well under Thomas Tuchel, albeit, of course, it's a very early journey for the German manager. But a key component is Thiago Silva, the center back for Chelsea, who went there from PSG. What's the latest on his contract?
Yes, because he has an option in his contract to extend his contract with Chelsea for another season. So he will discuss in the coming weeks with the Chelsea board. From the club, they are absolutely open. They want to keep Thiago Silva also for the next season. They are so happy with him as a leader, as a player in the dressing room. He had a good relationship with Lampard. He has an amazing relationship also with Thomas Tuchel from Paris Saint-Germain, they knew obviously. So really good moment for Thiago coming back from the injury, but also outside the pitch, really in good relationship with people in the Chelsea atmosphere. So that's why Chelsea want to keep him. They are 100% sure they will try to keep Thiago for another season. They want to trigger his option in the contract. So let's see, it's up to the player now. Thiago will decide with his family, but also Thiago is so happy at Chelsea in London and everything. So that's why he's absolutely open. They will discuss in the coming weeks. There is no rush at the moment because, as I mentioned, there is the option, the contract. So it's absolutely ready to be triggered in the coming weeks. And Chelsea are happy with Thiago. Chelsea are convinced that Thiago could stay also next season. It's up to the player. It's up to his family to decide together because, you know, obviously when you have the age of Thiago, you have to decide for your probably last big contract in Europe. But at the moment, Chelsea and Thiago are convinced to go on together.
All right, stay right here, everybody. When we come back, we have plenty more, including Zlatan Ibrahimovic and, of course, some other stars, including Paulo Dybala from Juventus. Stay right here. Fabrizio Romano and myself will be right back. Welcome back, everybody, to Qué Golazo Pod. Fabrizio Romano joins us on this Monday. Fabrizio, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, what else can be said about this man? Scores again. AC Milan destroy Crotone for nothing, looking good, top of the table. But his contract is running out at the end of this season. What is the latest with him? Could Zlatan maybe be persuaded to stay in Milan once again?
It's incredible, my friend, about Zlatan Ibrahimovic. I want to say, just because he's 39 years old, we weren't expecting after MLS experience, after Manchester United experience, also not so good for him on the last season with injury and everything. Coming back in Italy, joining AC Milan in a difficult situation. They are not playing Champions League since 10 years, so really difficult situation for the club. And Zlatan changed everything in AC Milan, really. What a job he's doing, really amazing. But it's not just about the match with Crotone. Obviously, they are a small team here in Italy, but he's the man, he's the leader, he's AC Milan in this moment. And it's still beautiful to think when last summer he was convinced to leave the club, to change, to try probably something new in his career for the last steps of his career. And AC Milan manager Pioli called him many times during August to tell him, Zlatan, you have to stay. We need you. We want to win with you the Scudetto. It was seeming something like crazy to win the Scudetto with Juventus, with Ronaldo, and Inter with Lukaku and Lautaro. And they are trying to do it. They are first in the table. So congrats to Ibrahimovic. And we are really with no wars here in Italy when we see Ibrahimovic playing, because he has no age. He's incredible. And about his contract, as you mentioned, it will be running out in the next summer. So it's a dangerous situation with AC Milan. The club are absolutely happy with Zlatan, and how not, I would say. They want him to stay, to play the Champions League with AC Milan next season. Also, if in October he will be 40 years old, they want him in the club also next season in the team. It's up to Zlatan. So Zlatan at the end of the season would meet with Mino Raiola. He's not talking right now of his contract, but at the end of the season he will meet with Raiola. He will decide about his future. I'm sure that if AC Milan will be in the Champions League, and I think yes, I think Zlatan will have this big chapter with AC Milan to play again the Champions League with them. So AC Milan are really optimistic with Ibrahimovic about his future, to keep him also next season. It's up to Zlatan. He will decide at the end of the season, but really they want him to stay, and really, how not?
Absolutely. And it's very difficult for me to think that he would choose not to stay, especially as AC Milan look to not just try and win Scudetto, but as you mentioned, finally return to the Champions League, which would be a wonderful thing to see for AC Milan. All right, let's go to another club in Italy. Fabrizio, Juventus, Paulo Dybala, the Argentinian star there. There's been a lot of conversation about Dybala, back and forth, whether he was happy there, whether he wanted to go somewhere else. What's the latest for him? Because his contract is also, running out as well, right?
Yes, 1 year and a half, and it means that they have to decide the future of Paulo Dybala together with Paulo, with his agent, and with Juventus in the coming months. So I can tell you that if Paulo wants to extend his contract between like June or July, he will be sold next summer on Juventus. So the situation is really complicated at the moment because Paulo is not playing. He was injured. I can tell you that he's really happy with his Juventus life. Also, in this moment, it's not so easy for him. As I mentioned, he's injured. He had also COVID some months ago, so not easy situation for him. But he loves Juventus. Paulo loves Juventus atmosphere, loves the club, loves the fans, loves everything in Juventus. He has a good relationship with Pirlo, but at the moment, he knows that his contract issue is a big one because they have still no agreement. They are negotiating in 1 year, and they have no agreement between Paulo, his agent, and Juventus. So they have like 4 or 5 months now to find the agreement. If they don't, for sure, the situation for Dybala will be on the market next summer. And pay attention to Premier League clubs because, as we know, 2 years ago, he was really close to join Tottenham or Manchester United. Pay attention also to Paris Saint-Germain because they've always been in the radar for Paulo Dybala. So if he will be in the market, will be one of the big names for next summer. I'm 100% sure because a lot of big clubs are interested. But it's still up to Juventus. They have to negotiate with Paulo, and in 4 or 5 months, we will have the final decision for Dybala. But it will be another dangerous situation to pay in the coming weeks.
It's funny with Dybala because I feel like he must really love Turin because, he could be a star like in many other teams, but he often is the second fiddle to Cristiano Ronaldo. But, obviously, that's not a shame to be a second fiddle to Cristiano Ronaldo. But it's funny because it's back and forth. I'm wondering if he will be persuaded by the Premier League one more time. But I guess you'll let us know, Fabrizio.
I think yes. I think yes. I think the Premier League is always something interesting for top players. So yes, but as you mentioned, he's in love with the city. He's in love with Juventus fans in particular. He has an amazing relationship with the fans. And he has this desire of winning something important apart of Scudetto, obviously, but winning the Champions League. He always had the dream of winning the Ballon d'Or with Juventus. So now it seems difficult because it's not a positive period for Paulo. But for the future, he wants to win still with Juventus. So it's the contract now the problem, more than Paulo himself. And with 1 year of contract, you can't stay at Juventus because Juventus won't take the risk of losing him for free in 1 year. So that's why next summer will be the key for Pau.
It's always the contract. Always, always. Well, it's never the problem with Fabrizio Romano. Make sure that you read his content on cbssports.com. You can find him on Twitter, Fabrizio Romano, and Instagram as well. Fabrizio, thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you, my friend. Always a big pleasure, and we keep updated because we will have a lot of news, I'm sure. So thank you, and see you soon.
Hey, everybody. I want to thank Fabrizio Romano for joining me today. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Qué Golazo Pod. We're also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher. Please leave a rating and review. We're also on YouTube, youtube.com/Qué Golazo. We're on cbssports.com on our soccer content and vertical. Please make sure that you follow us, that you spread the word. Thank you so much, and have a great, great week.